Greetings, children of the screen. Your friendly neighborhood nerds come here once again with one of my weekly reviews, and this week we're talking about The Crow. Now, if you've watched any of my videos, you might have heard me talk about it. I really love the character of the Crow, created by James O'Barr. In fact, one of my earlier videos for this channel was like a 20-minute long video where I talk about why it's so awesome, and I'll make sure and link that video down below. So, in like 1999, 2000, Image got the IP for The Crow, and they decided to put out their own series of The Crow. And for that, what they decided to do were these two volumes here, which retells the story of Eric Draven in 10 issues. Now, I read this when it was coming out, but in truth, I didn't get to the comic shop very often, and I missed a lot of the issues. But I tell you what, guys, I just got done reading it, and it sucks.
Victims, aren't we all?
Well, maybe sucks is too harsh. Don't get me wrong, it's well written, for the most part, and it has some very good art in it, but it also has some very questionable art in it. It lacks a coherent plot, and does too much while doing not enough all at the same time. The first 4 issues retread the basics of both the original book and film, and are decent, but starting around issue 5 or 6, the book loses its way. It becomes meandering and self-indulgent, and tangential philosophical outpourings that do little despite being well written in of themselves. Then, the book introduces this idea of evil as a virus that Eric has to destroy, but this really goes nowhere. If anything, it seems as if the book attempts to actually turn Eric into some kind of Spawn-esque superhero or dark angel, even like seemingly bringing in elements from the just abysmal television show. Basically, it's slow, it's boring, ugly, and worst of all, it is stupid. I mean, guys, there's a point in this series where, I shit you not, I thought I kind of remembered him fighting a shark, but it's actually dumber than that. Eric gets thrown into a shark tank by a lone shark who has a giant shark, and then the Crow flies in and fights the shark. What the fuck? But then again, we do get this pretty dope image right after that of Eric punching his way through the shark tank. Kudos, that was pretty dope. But in the end, none of these flaws are the book's ultimate downfall. The true downfall of this book is that, like the majority of the franchise, it tries to retell the Eric Draven story. This is why it is viewed so harshly. In comparison to the original source material and even the film it's based on, this book just comes up short. The original graphic novel and film are by no means perfect works, but they excel so well and are loved so much because they are dripping with honest emotion, sprung out of true tragedy. The original work was an attempt at coping with the grief of James O'Barr, its creator, after losing his fiancée to a drunk driving incident. The film was inspired by that beauty and darkness of the original book, and then after suffering the loss of Brandon Lee while making the movie, that was also infused with a larger layer of honest, raw emotions. These tragedies infused the work with something real that audiences latched onto even if they didn't know it was there. They could feel it. That cannot and should never be attempted to be manufactured. And despite some very good parts, that's what this book is more than anything else. A manufactured cash-in that in reality does not know what it's trying to do beyond sell the book. This is the reason why it features Eric Draven, the franchise's most bankable icon, and why they seem to want to set him up in this new ongoing canon as like a superhero. It's also why the plot comes out of nowhere and creeps away, leaving behind only vague philosophical musings on its structure to sustain the rest of the story. Eric Draven's not designed to be an ongoing character, therefore the manufactured plot is a complete contradiction to the character as he's established. It's why the book focuses more on the villain of the week type pattern instead of truly examining the true emotional, philosophical, or spiritual ramifications of these moments. Overall, this story suffers from the same thing much of the rest of the Crow franchise has. It exists in the shadow of Eric Draven. Whether it's in retelling his story outright or co-opting Eric Draven elements and shoehorning them into other stories, the end result is the same. We're left with a dry, moldy taste of 2-month-old bread in our mouth and a hunger for something of substance. So guys, in closing, I can't recommend this book, but the first 4 issues have some really beautiful art, and it's decently executed in terms of a modern-day retelling of the character, but after that it just goes to just garbage. Basically, if you see it in the dollar bin, and that sounds like something you're interested in, then it'd be worth the $1.
Right on, guys, but that's just my opinion on the matter. Have you had a chance to check out either of these volumes of the story arc? What did you think about it? Am I on the right track, or am I out of my mind? Were they actually pretty awesome? Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Also, if you like this video, please make sure and give it a like and share it with some friends. That's more important now than ever. Not to mention, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe so that you can check out all the future content I'm going to have, including the follow-up to this video, which is called, by the way, if you didn't see the title card, In the Shadow of Eric Draven, Part 1. And Part 2 is going to be focusing more on the film series, specifically the proposed remake starring Jason Momoa. So we'll be getting into that here in the next week or so. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope y'all have a great night. Nerds come. Out.